Kia ora, hello, I'm Philip Duncan and thank you for joining us for our Tuesday update for March the 7th. Autumn weather, it is with us now here in New Zealand. You'll notice it with that temperature change in the North Island today. Others got that over the weekend. You can see that big southerly flow going all the way up to the tropics. Tonga, Fiji, Vanuatu, New Caledonia, all getting this more refreshing change. Obviously not as cold up to the north there, but it shows you this autumn change sweeping up across New Zealand, but waiting behind it, warmer northerlies are about to move back in again. This big storm down here and the windy weather associated with it, it's coming our way for the mid to late part of this week. And in front of it, a classic cold front. And so once again, we're sort of seeing another changeable weather pattern coming through. It's a sign that autumn is certainly with us, but the beginning of autumn is full of sort of lots of hot, sunny, summer-like days. So don't be too worried just yet if you don't want to see the end of summer. The other feature on the map, apart from the storm coming through Bass Strait here, is further to the north. A low pressure zone on the very western side of Queensland has stalled. It's there for the whole week. Rainfall totals could be over 500 millimetres with that low, but it's not likely to turn into a cyclone. It's completely stalled, but there could be a tropical cyclone somewhere in the north by early next week. We'll touch on that in a moment, but for now, no threat to New Zealand at all from anything from the tropics. Let's have a look at Wednesday. So high pressure to the north, pretty weak, but just enough to keep the North Island mostly protected from rain. Maybe an isolated shower, especially later on as this weak front moves up the west coast. Look at all the windy weather though coming in around that storm in the Southern Ocean. So windy and wet for parts of Victoria and Tasmania. Then it crosses over the Tasman Sea and drives rain along the west coast. But the good news is Hawke's Bay, Gisborne, mostly settled and dry. Same story for Northland and Auckland as well. Now on Thursday, we see a few more showers around the western side of the North Island. Classic autumn setup right there with high pressure to the north, low pressure to the south, and those windy westerlies just crossing over New Zealand like railway tracks. So it'll be windy through Cook Strait, windiest in that area. Rain will be heaviest on the west coast, and elsewhere just a few showers. Southland that needs a lot more rain, you do have showery weather coming through. Up in the tropics, the usual thunderstorms and rain, and that low pressure zone still stuck around Queensland, still driving in rain for the northern part of that state. So let's go to the end of the week. The windy westerlies in New Zealand start to sort of take a bit of a break as another area of high pressure further north than the highs we've been seeing earlier this year, but the pressure itself not very strong, but it's just enough to move through and bring another clearance behind the front. So yes, there is a cold front here on Friday moving into the north. It breaks up, few isolated downpours within it, but if you're over here in Hawke's Bay, rainfall totals at this stage look only to be around 5 to 15 millimetres as that front comes through. So that's hopefully nothing to really worry about. By Saturday, the low pressure, small area of low pressure here, drives in a bit of a sou'easter. That could drive in a little bit more wet weather to the more coastal sides of the eastern side of the North Island. But the high in the Tasman getting stronger and is moving in and will push that away. So we go to Sunday, that's our final map for now, pushes away that wet weather, dries back out again in Hawke's Bay. So yes, a little bit wet for the end of Friday, going into Saturday, but the rainfall accumulation, you can double check it at ruralweather.co.nz, you'll see is not too big. And some good news for Southland, another front coming back in again, much needed rain on the way for you. Before I go, let's take a look at the tropics. We've got two areas of low pressure, one well out to the east here, which may become a short-lived cyclone, but this one here is the more interesting one to watch. Northwest of Fiji, it is expected to deepen slowly as it moves over towards the Coral Sea. Now, it may, I've seen a map showing it as a cyclone right next to New Caledonia Tuesday of next week, so 7 days from now, and then it weakens fairly quickly moving into Queensland as a rainmaker. That's just one model. Definitely don't lock that in, it's still moving around, but that low up here I think is one to keep an eye on. But New Zealand's protected, another big block of high pressure coming through and keeping northern areas and right up to Norfolk Island even mostly settled. And we're going back a wee bit to December. If you take a look at this weather pattern, especially with the rain sliding back down again into New South Wales and low pressure parked over here around Adelaide. So that set up there looking a little bit like we did see a few months ago, maybe a sign that the seasons are definitely changing now weather-wise, and we're going back certainly into a pattern that we didn't sort of have so far this year. That's good news for parts of New Zealand, maybe not so good news for other parts on the map here, especially around that eastern side of Aussie, although maybe you do want some rain, let me know on YouTube. So that is all from me for today. Back again tomorrow, Wednesday, with our next update as we continue to track rainmakers into New Zealand and what is going on in the tropics. We'll see you then.